So we're celebrating 60 years. It was July 14th, 1961. Filmmakers Co-op, the New American Cinema Group. And it's also Jonas Mekas' 100th birthday. And we're celebrating Mekas as well. So my name's F.M.C. and I make films. And I love the Filmmakers Co-op. I love being part of the community. I love the diversity of filmmakers, personal vision. If you look at that program, organized by, there were 4 curators, but the theme and topic Devin came up with. And I think it's an exquisite program, and each person has their unique style.
It's so nice to meet all of those who I haven't met before. Everybody who contributed to this, thank you so much, especially Devin for really kind of being the leader on this. Yeah, no, it's just really nice to be a part of a program that really kind of sticks to the values of the Filmmakers Co-op in terms of community. It really is a nice kind of way to start the year. I think that was always our intention in terms of this programming. So it feels really good to be around people who are really trying to support each other, because that's community is ultimately what pushes us through to the future. So it's lovely.
Hi, I'm Devin Narayan Singh. I'm one of the board members of the Filmmakers Co-op. I'm here in Providence with Sherry and Tracy for our Providence pod. This was a program between myself, Emily Singer, our board president, Lumia, another board member who's here, and It was an extension of a survival program that we did in November. And this one was more attuned to themes of the natural world. And I'm gonna just go to gallery view because I'm really excited and really happy that a wide range of filmmakers, a wide intergenerational filmmaker collective, which I think is a really big part of the co-op, and something that I've come to treasure dearly about the co-op is the fact that we commune and we bring together all different generations, all different walks of life, have joined us today for this conversation. So without further ado, I would like to introduce our filmmakers: Nisi Jacobs, Saul Levine, Josh Guilford, Larry Gottheim, and M.M. Sarah.
I just want to say something about the natural world, because my grandfather gardened and they never owned land. He did it in the parking lot during the Depression for survival. My father was a gardener, and they canned and they pickled and they sent me stuff in the US mail. And I gardened every single day during COVID when it was so bad. I went to the garden, I took care of the cats, the animals, the birds, and these river trees. I mean, it's kind of, to me, nature, digging in the earth, even knowing Mekas, Jonas Mekas. One time when we were having trouble, see the space getting in, I called him 5 times in a row, and he said, I think it's in the film, go to your garden, just relax, angels will protect us. Go to your garden and do some composting, do some weeding. And I listened to him. And I think just connecting to the earth and being part of the earth. And when you die, you go into the earth, gives me a sense of reality.
I feel like looking at all the work in context in a program, what was so energizing and uplifting is one that were I feel like it's an affirmation of something about New York, or something about people that are able to make the best of this lack of freedom that we've suddenly found imposed on our bodies and our movement. And as much as depicting the natural world, I feel like a lot of it is saying, when I listen to some part of my own nature, I am, it's like the nature inside of us and the nature outside of us. Depicting nature with a mechanical camera could be a completely artificial act that separates us further, or it can take us much deeper. It depends entirely on the person who is working with the tools of editing and sound and everything else that goes into working with the medium. So I felt like all of the work was very intimate with medium, and that's something about New York, or the spirit of experimental film in general, is the tactility and the immediacy, and not losing that in the midst of all of this isolation and dislocation, but also primarily just really acknowledging our own natural voices, our own natural persons, untrammeled by commerce and trying to make a buck off people and trying to, get people's attention for no reason at all, except that we need to get someone's attention. There's just a generosity and a respect. Every filmmaker brought respect for their own thinking, working self and the process. So that in itself is very, very motivating. It makes us say, well, wait a minute, we're not stuck. We're absolutely still on track. It was very inspiring. It did definitely have like a huge mood uplift for me, personally speaking, to be a part of this. So thank you.
First of all, I don't want to get all into like semantics. For me, I don't see myself as apart from nature. I don't see New York City as unnatural. What Lumia said, a lot of the discussion, when people say Mother Earth is in danger, Mother Earth isn't in danger. The Anthropocene is in danger. Our ability to be comfortable and habitable in the earth. Human beings are in danger. Not even life is in danger. And eventually, look, what I love about filmmaking is I'm very interested. I didn't realize it at the beginning. I was like involved in vision, but I'm also interested in time. And here we're really talking about time, long time, short time. For those creatures whose life is a nanosecond, their whole world is that nanosecond. It's as important as the entire cosmos.
He's so generously talking about my work, but the particular way that he worked, I was thinking of him just now working on the splicer with these little minute cuts and splices and so on. What kind of work is that? That's really an amazing kind of thing that's different from other people's thing. And I think that not everybody, but people have found a way of using the medium of film to do these amazing things, just as other people have found music or painting. Cezanne is the big person who represents that most for me, of using the actual paint to say something, or to not to say something, but to open up something about nature.
Another filmmaker showed him this like secret beach in San Francisco. And I think the images startled him. And then when I saw them, I think that when you start working with images, you start to see things over time. So it's hard for me to know if I saw them right away or they became more apparent while editing and working with them. But definitely, yes, absolutely. They're very intentional, except that they're not like faces that I could point. I don't think we all see the same faces. They're like clouds. We all see different, we project our own. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you.
This area of the what's called the Superior Basin in northern Michigan consists of these huge and quite distinct deposits of a particular kind of sandstone called Jacobsville sandstone, which was quite popular in the late 1800s and early 1900s as a building material. It was used, it had this distinctive red character, so it was used a lot in architectural construction, including the initial Waldorf Astoria Hotel. But it dates back over 900 million years. The sandstone itself is Precambrian. And there's some kind of debate within geological circles about how it was formed. But when I was on the island, I was reading this geological literature. There's like a little modest library on the island with books that artists have donated. And I was reading these like fascinating descriptions of how these geological formations came to be. Very imaginative descriptions of like this ancient terrestrial highland that pre-existed life on Earth, and this kind of ancient sea that flooded this area, and all of these sediments that had kind of slowly trickled down to the base of this highland were then kind of subject to these crashing waves, which over years and years and years of that repetitive kind of wave action through the process of sedimentation and compaction created this these really incredible sandstone formations. And so that's kind of what the editing is doing in that film, is trying to kind of channel some of that history.
And I think that because this is so natural world focused, and I think about horticultural therapy a lot, and how, and when you look at PTSD and you look at healing, most science will back that being in nature is one of the best ways to deal with a lot of the inflammation of the brain, of the body, and your soul. And so I think that when I was looking at everything, I felt that we were kind of going through those motions a bit of like, there is like with Jonas, starting with Jonas, and there's this tree being murdered, but there's an opportunity for us to kind of, for him to save it, and kind of acknowledging the twofold, kind of like the way that parks are, where it's healing, but it's also kind of terrifying that, there was this thought process that this is an easier way to hold people in. And so I think that when I was thinking about this programming, and I really kind of, I looked to Devin, MM, and Lumia for their input. I felt like this kind of took you through a sequence of all the different notions of going through nature and being a human. That was kind of that's my takeaway from it, and that we kind of put it in this sequence of, it's very human, it is very natural, it is very personal, but it kind of transcends to people. And I think these conversations about sound and intention, I feel like make so much sense, because these films are very intentional, and there's also all the viewers' takeaways as well, and not just all of you as filmmakers. So that's kind of my thought on the way we programmed.